morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm Yifan, an assistant librarian at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology in digital humanities. I'm super thrilled today to present and share my studies related to Genshin Impact. Okay. I have been a launch day player since September 2020, and still dedicating a bunch of my storage data in my iPad here for versions updates. But I quit after the storyline after Inazuma, so lured by Honkai Star Rail and other Gacha games like Wuthering Waves, Reverse 1999, and Love and Deep Space. And I'm a Gacha game lover, but this is just a brief disclaimer. Sorry, if you found I'm clueless about some characters and chapters in Genshin, I confess I'm not a fake lover, just not a die-hard one, standing for 6 years. I has been one, particularly during the COVID. And sorry for this very long activation before we join the party. My topic is research. Being continued, recorded, displayed, studied in a transformed approach. And this cultural diffusion pattern has been imitated and critically rendered in the digital landscape in the game world. This is my argument and some methodologies. What is a Hellenistic diffusion? Very simply put, it is how Asian Greek culture has been brought to Asia by Alexander the Great. Through several campaigns by language, civic, cultural, and institutional constructions, but how it is related to us in East Asia. Long before we can recognize it and name it, we have already encountered it for centuries. An Oriental Hercules, Jingang or Congo Lixi, or Raja. When someone in China encountered a lion-skinned hooded figure holding some kind of weapon, either a Raja or a staff, it will not necessarily prompt him with an explicit correlation back to Hercules in Greek myths. Because the visual and historical content and context of the figure and the actual environment and audience revealing the figure have been changed. This figure is a cave painted and situated in the distant desert of Xinjiang, or carved as a garden area at different medieval Chinese tombs, the later collected by Shanghai Museum. The visual landscape is different, but we could sense the familiarity from the figurative similarities alongside the physical cultural exchange route of artifacts. As Yifan discovered how the figure of Heracles reached China, step by step, from ancient Greece to the Hellenization of Alexander the Great, from the Hellenistic period at Roman Empire to Central and West Asia, adopted as a Gandhara Buddhist warrior with the spread of Buddhism, it then arrived at medieval China and discovered in some provinces, several modern provinces in China. Inevitably, during the diffusion process, the Greek mythical context of Heracles has been lost and transformed. And when the local residents crossed and viewed this figure, they could hardly tell it as a Greek demigod, a hero with rich stories, but rather an ordinary tomb god or Buddhist warrior who has no name, no personal tale. This is how the image of Heracles arrived in China and Japan from the west to the east, manifested by visual records. And this diffusion and transformation pattern somehow parallels our current scenario in the digital landscape. When we encounter a gamified reception of Hercules in an other world, a science fiction, a post-apocalyptic, or an anime environment in a Chinese or Japanese mobile game. The visual lineage presents a continuation of somehow a digital Hellenistic diffusion. What makes Inazuma and Economia so fascinating is that it exemplifies a mythical retelling, a kind of a new Hellenistic diffusion pattern in the digital world, which imitates and merges several cultural exchange routes and mythical transmissions. Many fans enthusiastically researched and interpreted the Greek myths in Enconomia, which states how emotionally and culturally engaging the story is. My analysis focuses on how Greek myths and Japanese myths are deliberately, sophisticatedly, and abstractly interwoven into the game world, and why deliver Greek myths through a Japanese mythical translation, and how plausible is it? I suppose we all know the nation Inazuma is designed based on Japan. Vatasumi Island is located in Inazuma. The shape of this island resembles the mysterious Atlantis that Plato told us. For underneath the island, in the deep end, the lost Enconomia revealed itself, iconographically and topographically, as another Atlantis. With a mysterious, blurry but haunting feeling of vicariousness, the lost civilization, once utopian but degenerated, sank into the sea, deserted and unreachable. This is the fated but with faint sense of memories of another Atlantis that forms the background and the context of this prehistory of Enconomia in game. And Genshin's sophisticated synthesis of anatomies in another world is delivered in two major story quests, Hyperion's Surge and Phaethon's Subtles. The island sank into the ocean and the world turned into evernight darkness. A craftsman, Abrax, is a variation of the Gnostic deity Abraxas, who received the knowledge from Kairos. Kairos originated from a Greek deity, constructed the artificial sun called Dainis Shimikoshi, meaning Helios' chariot of the sun. So Abraxas called Helios the forger, and also means the father of the sun. Later, the corrupted nobles manipulated and selected Pompey rulers as son children and imprisoned the Helios forger of Abrax. Every son child has been incinerated in a vicious ritual called the Rite of Solar Return. In Greek myth, Phaethon is the son of Helios. Originally in the story, Phaethon backed his father to drive the chariot, yet he got out of control and the chariot set the earth ablaze. So Zeus struck him to death with a thunderbolt. He is literally burned to death in a certain sense. Subtles is the traditional Greek dance, Subtles of Phaethons, literally the dance of some children. I found the game plot design very appealing, deliberately with the Japanese myth on Uzume dancing to lure Amaterasu out of the cave. According to Gochiki, the records of Asian matters, the sun goddess Amaterasu, angered by her brother's behaviors, sealed herself in a cave, plunging the world into darkness. The goddess Uzume performed a lewd dance in a way she exposed herself, made other hundreds gods broke into laughter, and enticed the sun out of the cave successfully, bringing life and light back to the world. According to a Japanese scholar of comparative mythology, Akiko Yoshida, this tale has been a non-accidental coincidence with Babos exposing genitals to amuse Demeter, which saved the world from the drought. Demeter is a great goddess of agriculture. After her daughter Persephone was abducted by Hades, she was in great sorrow, fasting and in silence, which brought the great famine to the earth. Bubble made her laugh and helped restore the fertility on earth. This is not the only similarity between Japanese myth and Greek myth. Another noteworthy example is Orpheus leading Eurydice out of Hades. Eurydice died, descended into the underworld. Her beloved husband Orpheus was so determined to win her back from Hades' hands. So he did, but only under one condition, that he promised he would not look back until they both regained under the sunlight. Orpheus could not see or know whether Eurydice was behind him. He looked back, nearly at the exit of the realm of the death, and he lost her forever. There is a Japanese version. The husband and wife, creation god and goddess, Izanagi and Izanami. Izanagi going to Yomi, the underworld, to bring Izanami back, who also promised not to look back, but yet failed. similarities and by no means a coincidence. Scholar Yoshida's examining the possible transmission route of Greek myth through Hellenistic diffusion, Scythian influence passing through the Korean peninsula and finally reaching Japan. Therefore, it's not a random or wild collage. Enkanomiya tells Greek-rooted myth in a Japanese mythical tone, which is plausible, reasonable, creative, and remarkable. This is part of my ongoing research on how game views multi-mythical other worlds. The methodology and structure have been progressively formed during the previous two conference presentations. Previously, much efforts are given to the visual lineage of a digital Oriental Hercules in Japanese and Chinese mobile pop Gacha games, and I argued for the continuation, digital extension of Hellenistic diffusion related to how we are approaching, appreciating, and adopting classical art and myth. And this time exclusively for Genshin, I would like to argue for the variation of Hellenistic diffusion in the gaming sphere, which imitates the cultural transmission in the real world while synthesizing multiple mythical elements from various cultures. What has been conserved and transformed throughout thousands of years across various media in diverse appearance of stories, cultures, and countries is still what we are engaging with at this special playground. And this digital playing refreshes and reshapes our cultural memory. So that's it. And thank you. And any comments, suggestions, sharings, please do drop me messages. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Yifan. Do we have any questions? Well, I'll ask one. In the meantime, so of course there is also a Roman world hiding, coincidentally, also under the sea, but under Fontaine, if I remember correctly. Have you ever had a chance to look at that?
Actually, I stopped after the storyline of Inazuma.
Right.
So I'm not really familiar with Fountain. I only know a bit. And I still regard Fountain as much a French cultural inspiration related.
Yeah, yes.
But it could be, it is still like possible that emerged the French culture with Roman culture, as it's quite like originally emerged in the real world from received from Roman society, Roman culture as well. So
yes, it feels like there's much more of a connection between those two than these two. Yes, that's a good reflection. Yes. Oh yes, Anna. You also have
Hi, Yifan. Is that working? Yeah, cool. Thank you for that excellent talk. Something that strikes me as curious in Genshin, but it does also apply to some other video games, is how often the Hellenistic or Roman ancient world is found underneath the ocean. And I just wonder if you could maybe speak a little bit to that. To me, it seems almost reminiscent perhaps of our contemporary anxieties about being sunk beneath the sea. But yeah, I was just wondering what you thought about that.
If we could put it back to like archetype, mythical archetype is it could all be like related back to the myth of Atlantis. So I think this is kind of the looping previously how discussed as well. It's kind of a return back to the original knowledge about we are dreaming of a utopian or part of civilization, and to maybe find a secure solution for what we are facing now. It's true. It's amazing that you find like they could be related with our contemporary anxiety as well. But we still like playing this mythical, like looping process to like self-related with this world, I guess. So that's why we're so much like fascinated with playing Genshin.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Callum had.
Yeah, thanks for the really interesting talk. In your analysis, how much does the fact that Enkanomiya is under specifically Wasasumi Island, which is something of an Okinawan equivalent, rather than being just like Inazuma's generic representation of Japan, like is there any kind of meaningful interactions with like Okinawan specifically cultural heritage, rather than just like general Japanese mythology with the Hellenistic elements?
I think, because my study is very narrowed down to why we locate such a kind of a Greek mythical entity, mythical regional area, metaphysically existing place in Inazuma. It's a really a Japanese culture immersively playing environment. So I guess it could be related with the other design storylines about the overall environment. But what I would like to just narrow it down with these crossover of why. So it all could be answered for the other related architectures, characters, foods, costumes, everything else in this region. So I'm not sure I could answer your question in this moment very quickly, but surely we could discuss it later.
Cool. Thanks.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, I think maybe we'll move to the break. Thank you very much, Yifan.